Storytelling in your photos is also incredibly important. Now think about every successful movie that you have seen and that you probably like, whether it's Gladiator or whether it's Star Wars. It has something in common, and that is the storytelling aspect involving three different characters. There is always the hero of the story, and this is the person that is going to be the main character. It's the person that viewers want to see the most. And in photography, this will typically be your main subject. This is the main thing that you are photographing. If your photo doesn't have a main subject, it doesn't have a hero. So you're not storytelling. This is what I was talking about in the previous lesson, where if a photographer sees a great sunset and is standing on a hilltop and lifts his or her camera and takes a picture of this great sunset, but only the sunset, it's missing the hero. And so it's not going to be an overly successful photo unless, of course, you saw something incredible in the clouds and you're able to zoom in and isolate some interesting aspect of the clouds, and then that becomes the hero of the story. So we also have a Darth Vader, and that is a villain in every story. And no one likes the villain. We want the villain to use. And often in photography, your villains are going to be distractions. This is also, another word for this would be clutter or busyness. And this is stuff that's just not adding to the story. It's not helping to tell the hero's story. It's not assisting. And you can typically eliminate villains, and you want to eliminate your villains, by doing one of two things. Number one is through your zoom lens, and you're either going to zoom in or zoom out or rotate your camera to try and crop out the villains in the story. Or even better, you're going to move on your 2 feet and you're going to move your camera to a different location so that as few as possible villains will be in the story. Now, what are the villains? I can't tell you because every composition is so different, but they are the distractions. It's the clutter. It's just the stuff that is not beautiful in the photo. Then there is the third character, and I call these friends of the hero. Now these friends of the hero will help to tell the story of the hero. And so this is where your interesting foreground element comes into play. So you've got a picture, let's just say, of you're out in the sand dunes and there's some gnarly old tree root that has just been burned and scorched by the sun for 100 years. And you're going to use that as your foreground element because it helps to tell the story of desert and dryness and baking and scorching and cooking. And these friends of the hero is just anything that you can include that will help to tell the story of that hero. This typically is where your framing will come in, that you're framing in, like if I show you that waterfall picture from Oregon where we've got these green mossy walls, well, that helps to tell the story of this lush rainforest type of canyon. So if you can keep these three things in mind when you're thinking about storytelling in your photos, that you are clearly identifying a hero of the story, and this is going to be your main subject. You are cropping out the villains. Let's get rid of all the villains, and let's include the friends of the hero to help tell that story. Those three things together will result in storytelling in your photos and a more interesting composition and a photo that people are going to look at and say, I like that.